United Systems Group has been around for over 20 years, but I suppose what everybody wants to know is how did it all start? I mean, how did you guys meet?
In Prague. I had moved to Prague to work with Globopolis, a .com, which friends of mine from Atlanta had invested in. And on the first day, I went in and early in the morning, and I couldn't get the coffee machine to work. And next thing you know, this big tall guy comes in and says, "Yeah, you might want to plug it in." I was like, "Duh." And then he goes, "But that's bad coffee. You want some Turkish coffee?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll have some Turkish coffee." And I said, "Are you Turkish?" And he goes, "No, I'm Serbian." And this was 99.
Yeah.
So the bombings had, been recent, the whole action. And I remember literally thinking like, oh crap, the window is, we're on the second floor, and if I jump out this window, I'll probably break my legs. And here I am with Yogi, and he made me a beautiful Turkish coffee, which they now call domestic coffee here. And he said, "My name's Mladen, but everybody calls me Yogi Bear." And I was like, I'm sure they do when you see how tall he is. And then the next day, I was sitting at my desk, and I'd left and gone and got a coffee or water or something, and I come back, and there was this gentleman at this tiny little desk. And so I come in, and I said, I stood up, Southern boy, "Hi, I'm Dean." And he stands up and keeps on standing and standing, and he goes, "Hi, I'm Vladimir, but everybody calls me Brutal Bear." And I remember saying, "I bet you they do." And then Yogi came in and says, "Hey, I see you met my little brother." And I was like, "There ain't nothing little about this guy. You're both big bears." And that was it. And I ended up becoming the tech director of the team, and we had like 17 people working under.
Something like that, yeah.
And we had a bunch of Czechs, Slovaks, a couple of Russians, a couple of Americans, and 2 Serbs. And I say this all the time. I was born and raised on a farm where it was yes sir, no excuse sir. As my father used to say, there's no excuses on the back 40. And of everybody on the team, everyone was great on the team, but of everybody on the team, it was the Brother Bears that really got things done. And I remember we were going live on a new build, and we're going to take it live at 2 in the morning. And Leos, our system admin, was doing some work, and I was going to stay there with Leos. And I said to the Brother Bears, "What are you guys doing here? We're going live at 2. There's nothing left to do." And this guy goes, "Well, if you're here, we're going to be here." And they stayed there with it, and then we went live. And I think at 2:33 in the morning, we started drinking beer and to celebrate. And then, unfortunately, the .com, the venture capital money, it was kind of when the whole .com market started to crash. Mm-hmm. And so the second tranche of money out of London fell through. And Globopolis, we had to kind of wrap up Globopolis. Mm-hmm. I had built the first peer-reviewed database system, Manuscript Manager, in '97. And there were a lot of implementations in the world of scholarly publishing. At that point, scholarly publishing was really starting to move forward towards everything being digital. And I was still taking care of some of the customers. And out of all the team members on the IT team, I said to Brutal and Yogi, let's see if we can make this work. Because in a way, they didn't have jobs. And, we then started with our 2 first clients.
And what were you doing in Prague at the time?
I left after the bombing. There was nothing really left here to do. So we decided to go. I went first. Got a job at the bookstore. One day I applied for all the programming jobs I could find until I was a junior. And one day I got a message that they called me from the global police. This Kazakh girl that was working with me, she was like freaked out. It was the global police, a Russian guy, Butorin. He called for you. Like it's .com, Globopolis. So I got hired. I was like 5th or 6th. It was a startup when I joined them. It was great times to be a programmer.
Yeah.
The doors closed, sign for nuclear danger on the door. Nobody comes in, music playing all day long. It's not like that anymore.
No. But what was your impression of Dean, apart from not knowing how to plug in?
He never make it to the window. No, he said, he literally said, when he heard where I'm from, that I'm from Novi Sad, he said, I'm sorry about those bridges. Because all the bridges in Novi Sad were destroyed in the bombing.
Yeah.
And that was it. That was right there.
Yeah. And who came first to Prague?
I did.
You did.
He came first, yeah. I stayed in Novi Sad for a couple of months to sell our music equipment, amplifiers, guitar, basses, because we had a bands in the 90s here. So I sold that so we can rent a nice place in Prague. And basically in the meantime, Dean's Fred, investor and CEO of that company, Globopolis, great man, Scott Rogers, talked to him. He told him that my brother is coming. They started talking about music, and it turns out that CEO of that company, Dean's friend, listens to same kind of music that I love. And he just told Mladen, call him for an interview. So basically I came in Prague around 3 a.m. in a van, the group van, like a bunch of us. We came 3 a.m. At 8 a.m. I was in the office.
Oh, wow.
Got the job and met Dean, and that's how it unwraps.
And when he offered to go into work together, what was your impression? What was your reaction to that?
It was a great idea. It was actually, the idea was to start an NGO that would give people here an opportunity to learn and work, right? Mm-hmm. Not like hardcore seasoned professionals who already know the job, but give an opportunity to people. And the society here was, after the bombing, as it was. So that was the idea. So first couple of people that joined in didn't know how to program or didn't know much about the industry, but now they are seasoned vets.
First 2 people we hired are Nikola and Stasha, right? And basically Nikola was a good programmer at the time, and Stasha was one who's going to learn from them. So basically first 2 people we hired are one guy who's going to learn and one who's going to teach him how to program. Really, that's how it started, and it just grew from there in a similar style.
So it was the 3 of you plus 2 people you hired.
Mm-hmm. All in their parents' apartment, which is probably the size of our set right here.
40 square meters, 8th floor.
How long did you stay there?
Couple of years for sure.
Yeah, I remember my bed was also the couch that I worked off of, and the funny story is Vasilko, Stasha's still with us, and Vasilko, I think one of our 6th or 7th employees comes in, and the interview was done in the bedroom on the bed, and so
there was no office furniture.
Still to this day, we joke about, hey, remember when I interviewed you on Brutal's bed and stuff. So, but yeah, it was a lot of fun because we were very lucky to have 2 great clients, and one was the Chronicled Horse in Middleburg, Virginia, Robbie Banner. And the second was FARIS, Far East Russian Aviation Services, with Paul Wilkinson and Chris Cartwright. And so 2 of my loves are horses and, born and raised on a farm, and flying. And so the clients were very fair. We, I think, kept the contracts because we just focused on service. And if we screwed up, we took ownership, which is one of the things where, right away, Brutal, Yogi, and I kind of are on the same wavelength of, you bust your ass, and, if you make mistakes, you take ownership and you fix it. And the Ferris operation allowed us to really expand our enterprise development. It was implemented all over, basically, Russia, Central and Eastern Europe, for FBO's flight operations. And then Bill Carden from Carden Jennings, who I used to work for. When I built Manuscript Manager, I was working for Carden Jennings. They then built a second generation, which was called Manuscript Central, and they needed some assistance with their customer support. They had a contract with another country, and I won't say where, and the support wasn't working out. So Bill called us up, and Vladimir, myself, and our director, Dragon, who's behind the camera there, learned how to do the case console support for Manuscript Central. And I remember they hired us to have 2 people, and we brought a third person on, and I remember Martina was so mad, my wife, that we were bringing an extra person on that they weren't paying for. But Vladimir, Mladen, and I had made the decision that we wanted to make sure that if somebody left, we could have, not lose the client's
uninterrupted service.
Exactly. And it allowed for growth. So next thing you know, they said, okay, we want 3 people. So we then went to 4 people. And that was the beginning of the growth in the area of scholarly publishing, to the point now we have 208 team members, and probably 75% of our business is in that area, scholarly publishing.
Did you imagine this happening? I mean, back then, when you were starting off, just the 3 of you and then hiring 2 people, do you think
I never thought about it outside of the development, because we started with development, with the programming. I've never imagined it going outside of that. I thought it's always going to be that. I thought it's going to grow in that direction. But you can't plan for this kind of thing.
Right.
It was organic growth.
Yeah, we were never expected to be this big, but we were not even thinking about it. It was more kind of focusing work we do, and this just happened organic.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that was that really worked is somewhere along the way it just clicked with Brutal and Yogi and I, almost from the word go, from sorry about the bridges, to we've always been family first, and in that the growth has come from the fact that we take care of our customers and we take care of our team members, and the growth has come because we've had some excellent customers that they know that they can count on us, that we are true to our word, and that if we screw up, we take ownership and we address it. And so, but yeah, there was no idea that we would grow to this size and have this much of a reach. I mean, we were having a lot of fun. It was very shoestring in a way. I remember once we had one client that didn't want to pay an invoice, and we had everything listed out, and I said to the client, okay, then don't pay the invoice, but we're going to turn off all the stuff that we did for you. And we turned it off, and next thing you know, one of their team members in Moscow called up and said, why isn't the system working of all the new stuff? And I said, well, your boss didn't want to pay the bill. And next thing you know, we're paying the bill, turn it all back on and stuff. So it was, but I remember when I had that conversation with the client, they were watching me, have the conversation. Well, then don't pay the bill then. And they're like, what? And yeah, it was fun. It all along the line. And then, the interesting thing is how we've always, in the beginning, we'd all go out to the Danube and drink together and have nice dinners and stuff. And now, because the company's gotten that big and we have different, divisions, we don't get together as much. And that hurts a little bit. And we're going to dinner after this, and we will have smiles on our faces because, in a way, we honor the wonderful, beautiful trip, the journey that it's been, and all the wonderful people.
But going back to the beginning, or actually opening the office in Novi Sad, I mean, considering your first reaction to hearing that Mladen is from Serbia, what was your experience in Novi Sad?
Well, I guess the first time I came across, which was interesting, Martina, my wife, who's Czech, worked for a nonprofit, and they were the East-West Institute, and they had a big conference down in Dubrovnik. And so we drove from Dubrovnik through Bosnia-Herzegovina, and for my first trip to Novi Sad. And outside of Sarajevo, we drove through Sarajevo to kind of see, there used to be the Olympics there, and that's where so much unfortunate hell happened. And it started pissing down rain when we got up into the mountains outside of Sarajevo. And there was a kid on the side of the road hitchhiking. And I picked him up, he was pissing down rain. And didn't speak a lick of English, and he was Serbian. And so I handed the phone to the kid to speak to Brutal, and Brutal said, he'll tap you on the shoulder when you're to get out. And then Brutal said in English, you're an American in a place where they really don't like Americans. Don't pick up anybody else. Don't have any Southern graces and stuff. And I was like, okay, I got it. So we get to the river between the Srpska Republic, part of Bosnia and Herzegovina, and then Serbia. And the bridge to the right had been taken out. And so there was a military kind of construction bridge, and there was traffic going one way, and then they go the other way. And the police officer says, where are you going? A Serbian police officer. And I said, Novi Sad. And he goes, Novi Sad, Novi Sad. My friend here needs to go to Novi Sad. And I said, well, my brother, Brutal Bear, said no. And he says, see that bridge over there? It doesn't work anymore. This bridge is the only one that works. And if you'd like to go across it, you will take my friend to Novi Sad. So we get in the car and start driving. And, hey, Brutal, I got somebody in the back of the car. Can you talk to him? And stuff. So it was a very nice guy. And it was fun because we came through Fruška Gora, the mountain, the beautiful, it's very much like the Blue Ridge Mountains, which I looked at as a child. And then all of a sudden the young gentleman goes, there's Novi Sad. And I remember, I even looked at that, and it came down, and we had drinks, and what did I think of it? I thought everybody was amazing and beautiful, and then the family going to their house for dinner with their mom and their dad was just such a treat.
And since then, how many trips to Novi Sad?
This is my 133rd trip to Novi Sad. I've spent a year and a half of my life in Novi Sad. But I will say this, which I think is very interesting, which is something I sell all the time. In the Czech Republic, you say to somebody, do you speak English? And they're like, a little bit. But here in Serbia, you say, do you speak English? And Serbs are very open about trying to speak English because all the TV shows, and this is what I tell people why Serbs speak such great English, is all the TV shows have been subtitled. So Serbs are sitting there watching Friends or something, and there's a narrative to the use of the language. Whereas for Martina, she was learning out of a book, Bill Ran Up the Hill. Well, what's the damn narrative of Bill running up the hill? Whereas, here, because they're watching Joey can't get the coffee that he wants, there's a story there, so they understand the language a lot better, and then also the inflections of the language and stuff. So that's something that I don't think a lot of people understand when they come to Serbia, because we always invite our clients to come. They're just like, wow, everybody speaks such great English, and which is a very, very important part of success of the business, because all of the language and communications is in English, majority of it. So.
And you mentioned how you used to hang out and go for drinks and dinner because the company was much smaller. Now it's over 200 people. How do you handle that now? That aspect. I mean, there's hanging out and
there's hanging out, but in local offices, like people who work there, they will create a setup, as we call it, and enjoy some time together. And then there's a couple of times a year big parties for the whole company. But it's just 200 people getting together on Friday after work. There's no room for it. So it works in a different way, but it still works. Same mentality, same problem.
But we're very good, which of having our big summer picnic there's 6 bands in the company, so we have a rock show. We run with the special needs kids from the Milan Petrovic school here, so we have 2 carriages and run with special needs children. And we have a hiking team that goes up to Fushka Gora and goes hiking. And so we really try to make a lot of fun events so that, because there are so many people that and it is funny how a lot of people are like, do you work for the company? And because they're in different offices around town. So
but sorry,
we try to make it family first, which is the number one thing. And that's something we've been very lucky with awesome clients, because our whole attitude is if there's any issue within a family, we say to the team member, family first. Go take care of your family. Take care of the health. Take care of the kid. And I think we've never had a client say that they have a problem with us having team members. And because it's very family oriented, if somebody does have to take care of somebody, everybody comes in and fills in, which is very
I was
nice.
going to ask you about that, about the values of the company. And you mentioned family, but what are some of the other values?
Well, I think the main thing is that what part of it is what we started with and what Dean brought actually when we joined in. And the mentality over here. Everybody takes ownership of the work they do because it's their own and they did it. So it can't be wrong. It can be wrong by mistake, but it can be wrong intentionally, because if you did it, you are standing behind it. I think that's the motivation and the attitude that we still carry from the first day.
The other amazing, I think out of the 208 people, we have an average of 7.8 years of experience of the team members. So we have a lot of team members that have been with us from the very beginning. So, and that's something that's very interesting when Vladimir and I have to deal with talking with contracts, and because everyone wants to be a competitive price, cheaper. And they have the attitude of going offshore elsewhere. And one of the things we say is, okay, you might be able to get it cheaper, but are you going to have people that really take ownership? And when you have team members that have that many years of experience, there's ownership. And we've been very fortunate for clients to understand that. So.
Yeah, and they're also, I mean, in the mission statement, there is mention of that, like quality of the work and but also family. And what else? Well,
the mission statement, I remember Brutal Yogi and I were trying to figure it out. And I had a beautiful dinner with very nice Spanish wine. And I went to bed that night, and Martina was a little nervous because our firstborn daughter, Eva Lily, was in bed with us, between us. And I was mumbling to myself, and I was working through the mission statement. And in the middle of the night, I had gone into my office and I wrote down the mission statement. And then I came back to sleep and I didn't remember it. And like 2 weeks later, I'm cleaning up my desk and there was the mission statement. I'll try to remember it. One is, what is it on there? Customer service is job one. 2, establish mutually beneficial relationships with our customers. 3, understand the bottom line of business is profit. 4, understand the bottom line of life is friends, family, and community. And 5, never let the bottom line of business get in the way of bottom line of life. And I think we had one customer that didn't also believe in that, and we were kind of saying that we're not a corporate, shop. So if you're strictly about profit and not about relationships and respect, bye-bye.
And what was your reaction to the mission statement?
I loved it. I loved it. We really stand behind it all these years, I think.
It fits right in. That's how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yesterday I had a meeting with a team member, and it was about their family, and there was a issue, and the team member was very emotional, and I said, number 5. we will do whatever we can to help your family at this point. And because of number 5, I mean, why? I mean, that's how it's so easy that it's so beautiful that we have that attitude. I mean, you can't help everybody, but to be able to own the company that's privately owned and have so many lovely people, you know, to be able to not just worry about the damn bottom line. And you see so much of it in the world that we live in nowadays, so much corporate, you know, it's bottom line, it's bottom line. It's like, you know what, there are a lot of people and families on that Excel spreadsheet where their bottom line is. And they have names and they have experiences and they have mothers and fathers. And I think that is something, you know, we have an application that we built called Planet Team Manager that shows the faces of all the team members. And so when I walk into a room, everybody knows my name. They know Vladimir and Mladen, but we might not know them. And we built the application so that when we walk into a room, we know respectfully everybody's name, and we can, you know, unless somebody gets their hair changed really badly and stuff. But that's something that's important to us, that we can speak respectfully to every team member.
Mm-hmm. And do you have any special anecdotes or like some event that stands out as your favorite related to PSG, and you know, a special client or a special relationship or some moment?
There's been a lot of, it's hard to single out, kind of, right? It's a ride for 20 some years, and it's a majority of it was great, and literally kind of.
From the tech point of view, when Jeff Cornejo came in and showed us what AWS is, groundbreaking.
All right.
I think for me, the person probably the most would be Charlie Trowbridge and Jeffrey Mullins. When they came, they were so beautiful in their belief. They made everybody believe in themselves, and they just, everybody wanted to be successful because Charlie and Jeffrey were so supportive. And I think that really helped all of us together know, you know, because in a way, we started in an apartment down here. You're kind of asking questions of who are we? Is this for real? And what? And I think Charlie and Jeffrey were the two that really made us all feel like you guys are kicking ass and you're doing it right. And I remember Charlie once, because we had one of our mission statement in every one of the offices. We had the mission statement. It's in English and it's in Serbian. And Charlie was reading the mission statement, and one of the brothers had walked up and said, "Are you trying to learn Serbian?" And he goes, "Yeah, but I'm also realizing I love this mission statement." And that's the nice thing, as I was complimenting beforehand, we've had such wonderful customers that believe in us, but they also believe in the way, you know, our attitude about the mission statement. So
same things that we do.
Yeah, so there's this really nice relationship with the clients.
Yes.
But
all
also,
about relationships.
What's fascinating to me, I mean, we mentioned family and we mentioned this ownership of mistakes, but what I get feedback all the time from people working in this company is what they appreciate a lot is this low level of stress in terms of relationships they have with their superiors. And okay, when it's a small company, it's easier to kind of have this relationship, but how do you manage to still have this relationship going on in each team with over 200 people, and you're not supervising all these teams?
Yeah, we have leaders who we trust 100%. I mean, we have in each team leads, managers, like general managers. So those are the people that are carrying really core values of what three of us started, and that's why we don't have to kind of worry about that on a daily basis. Plus, we have great HR teams, so it's
I've heard that.
You can just go fishing.
That's the word.
Yeah, I will say that there's also within the family, the PSG family, if somebody's not working out, it's not really, we don't have to worry about it because it's just simply this person is not a fit. Anyone that's selfish and kind of me, it just doesn't work, and you can see that right away. And so there's a culling of that. I mean, we have a very good HR interviews, but every once in a while we might have somebody that it just doesn't work. So,
any wishes for the future?
health and happiness for everybody.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah. All right.